Have fun. Work hard, be dedicated. These were the ideas stressed by Jim Crowley during his 17-year season as football coach at Old Jackson St. John and later Lumen Christi High Schools. "If you don't have fun playing football, it isn't worth it," said the man who compiled a career one-loss tied coaching record of 127, 34, and 6. 2 state Class B championship teams in 1977 and 1979, and 4 unbeaten seasons, 1963, 1965, 1975, and 1979. And Coach Crowley's young men worked hard, had fun, and dedicated themselves to doing their best. Perhaps that's why Coach Crowley thought all of his teams were special. He never liked to compare one against another. Coach Crowley was a leader of young men, a tremendous example for those who he coached, and a dedicated father and husband. Our 2014 recipient of the Jim Crowley Award is a 1964 graduate of Owasso St. Paul High School. While there he played football, 3 league championships in 1 undefeated season, and basketball, 2 league championships and 1 semi-final appearance. He spent 2 years at Aquinas College where he played tennis and earned an associate's degree in 1966. He transferred to Western Michigan University in the fall of 1966. During his senior season at WMU, he was the backfield coach and varsity basketball assistant at Kalamazoo Hackett High School. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree from Western in the spring of 1968. Our recipient got his first teaching job at North Branch High School in the fall of 1968, teaching English, social studies, and physical education, and coaching the varsity football backfield, junior high basketball, and assistant varsity track coach. So he was pretty busy. In 1969, our recipient was hired by Gobles High School to teach social studies and physical education, be the school's athletic director and head football coach, and coach junior varsity basketball. He took a football program which hadn't won a varsity game in 3 years to a top 10 state ranking and the top scoring team in the region. By the spring of 1972, our recipient had finished his master's degree in guidance and counseling at Western Michigan University, and was offered a job by Ithaca High School to be its director of guidance and counseling and head football coach. Ithaca was a perennial league contender, often playing against teams that were twice as big in enrollment. Over the course of the 33 years our recipient was a head coach at Ithaca, they won 8 league championships, made 13 playoff appearances, had 3 undefeated seasons, and compiled 197 victories. Our recipient was League Coach of the Year 8 times, Area Coach of the Year 10 times, Regional Coach of the Year 7 times, and Michigan High School Football Coach of the Year in 2002. 2004 found our recipient leaving Ithaca and taking a job at Palmetto Ridge High School in Naples, Florida, where he was a guidance counselor and teacher and a varsity offensive coordinator. The football team set a record for wins for a first-year program. In 2005, our recipient took the head football position at East Lee County High School, developing a program from scratch. In addition to his coaching duties, he was a guidance counselor and a teacher. After the death of his wife, of 40 years, Jerry, our recipient wanted to get back to Michigan to be closer to his family. He was offered the position of head football coach at Lansing Catholic Central High School for the fall of 2009. He has been the coach there for the past 5 years and has taken the team to the state playoffs each year, with a highlight being an appearance in the state finals in 2011. Our recipient has been a member of the American Football Coaches Association since 1968 and a chartered member of the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association, which began in 1972. He was elected to the board of directors in 1978 and served on the clinic committee and the playoff committee, of which he was chairman from 1980 to 1988. And that committee was instrumental in revamping the state playoff system to presently having 256 teams in 8 divisions, or 9 divisions now with the 8-man football. He was elected second vice president of our association in 1998, first vice president in 1989, and acted as president of our association in 1990, and has served on the past President's Council since 1991. He coached in the 1990 All-Star football game for the West Squad and was elected to our Michigan High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 1996. In 2003, our recipient wrote a book and put out 2 videos on the single wing and the spread single wing, which were published by the Coach's Choice Publishing Company. In 2010, the company published an update on the book along with 2 new videos. While at Ithaca, our recipient coached quarterbacks at Central Michigan University summer camps for some 15 years and organized summer passing leagues for the mid-Michigan region. Our recipient is an individual who has given back to our great game constantly and is a creative innovator who has impacted many coaches with his book and national presentations at clinics throughout the United States or sitting down one-on-one with young coaches. Many of our recipients' former players now hold leadership positions in their professions and in their communities due to the values and standards learned at a young age as an athlete on one of his teams. He taught his athletes to compete fiercely, but always within the rules. He helped them to become better athletes than they thought they could be. He taught them the value of pursuing their goals with vision and passion. Our 2014 recipient is a football man without doubt, but more importantly, he remains a positive role model for his players. He's a man who walks the walk and places others first. He's a family man, a godly man, and a man who exemplifies all that is right in the world in which we live. It gives me great pleasure to present the 2014 Jim Crowley Award to Jim Ahern of Lansing Catholic Central High School.
Well, my son told me that I had 30 seconds, so I'll maybe extend it a little bit longer than that, but I'll try to make this brief. I want to thank the Coaches Association for this award. It's an unbelievable honor. It's very, very humbling. If you look at the list of the people that have won this, it's almost like if you look at the Founding Fathers list of our country. I mean, they're the ones that have established what we have today, and to be included in that is amazing. One of my assistant coaches, Mike Doran, got the word out that this had happened. I kind of tried to keep it quiet, to be very honest with you, because I don't know, sometimes I don't feel that I was definitely deserving of this award, but we've got a lot of my family and friends here, which is very, very nice. I want to thank Mike for getting that out. I appreciate that. I'd like my family. My son is here with his family, his wife Raquel and his 3 boys, if they'd stand up. Mike's been a part of our program probably since he was about 5 years old. He was our manager, and I mean, he's been hard, but he still is able to make the games on Fridays where he's up in the box and helps there. It's really neat, and something I really appreciate. And then I got a surprise when I got here tonight. My daughter had been moved to Minnesota, and until she'd moved there, she'd been at almost every game that we've ever had. Well, then obviously it's a little bit tough when she gets to Minnesota. I didn't want to mention it to her because I didn't think it was when I have to drive away from Minnesota, but my daughter Julie, if she'd stand up. My principal in athletic director here, who I did not know even knew about this. Again, Coach Doran has a big mouth. I'm really happy to see them. And then at some of the tables over here, a lot of my assistants are here. Some weren't able to be here tonight. But anytime you see any award, this really isn't football related as far as win, loss, that type of thing. The success that we have wherever I've been has been because of your assistance. It's been unbelievable. Some of them actually learned what they were supposed to do. The guy sitting down here in front of you, he learned pretty good. It's really interesting. I see that a lot of the staff that's there are pretty much the same coaches that were there when I was there. And most of those coaches either coached with me or played for me. And it's really gratifying to see the success that they had. And part of that, I think, goes back to Hal Smith, who has passed on now. But when I left to go to Florida, which was a mistake in itself, I asked him to try to keep the continuity of the program. And he hired Terry, and basically the rest of the staff stayed the same. So pretty much since 1972, Ithaca High School's had pretty much the same coaching staff. Very, very little turnover. And as you can see, the results of it are more than unbelievable. I just have two messages I want to get out tonight, and then I'll get out of here. One, I don't know, some of you were there this morning at the meeting they had about concussions, and that's become a part of our sport. And somebody asked John if he thought that this was going to have anything to do with maybe ending our sport. And John said no, because it's the greatest game there is. And I agree with him on one part. It's the greatest game there is, but I believe we're in danger of losing the sport I love. As coaches, get knowledgeable about what's happening in our society today. The Heads Up program that we've got is extremely important. There's a lot of false information out there about football injuries. I read a study, it was about 3 or 4 months ago, and I couldn't find it again. I was going to bring it. The most dangerous sport right now, as far as injuries per number of participants, is cheerleading, not football. Football is way down the list based on the number of people that are involved in the sport. But a lot of false information is out there. I think as a whole, we see a lot of information that comes out that is anti-football. As coaches, if you want to keep this game, we've got to fight that. And I'm asking you to do that. Become knowledgeable about what's happening, and don't let people legislate this great game away. The second thing I think that's really important, you don't really know how much you need something or miss something until it's gone. A lot of times that you look at that as in death. I know when I lost my wife and my daughter, it was extremely painful, but I'm not going that direction with it. I'm going more with the direction of this association. That's what this award's about. When I made the mistake of going to Florida in 2004, I could write a book about the experience there. It's an unbelievable situation. But in Florida, although they have great athletes and stuff, the substructure of football in Florida is horrible compared to here in Michigan. There's actually no football coaches association in Florida. There is a coaches association where all the coaches belong to that, but has basically no say in what happens, what rules are there. There's a lot of different, like all-star games, for example, in Florida might be, each county might have 2 or 3 of them. When you try to get something done there, it's almost an impossibility. You have no voice as a coaches group that we have here. And so this is important, that we know the value of how important this organization is. When we first started this organization, I was a part of it in the background mostly, but the people that were involved in that got it started are so important. And the thing that's important, that my message for the rest of you here tonight as coaches, especially the younger coaches, is you've got to get involved to keep this organization as strong as it is. I remember the first meeting that I went to, I was amazed at the intelligence on the room of our board of directors. And that hasn't changed. The knowledge, not just football knowledge, but I mean about knowledge about of things going on in the world. And we need to get new, young blood involved. If you don't want to be on the board of directors, you probably have a passion about something. Mine at the time when we first started was playoffs. And so get involved in maybe some of the committees, but don't let this great organization fade. If you look up here at the dais up here, you got a bunch of old farts. We need to get some young blood involved. We cannot don't be one of those guys that's going to sit back, just like you tell your players. You've got to get involved. You can't let somebody else do the work. Make sure you're not one of those guys that's letting everybody else do the work. Get involved. Don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk and get involved and do some things. Again, I want to thank the association and all my family and friends that are here. It's unbelievable. Very humbling award.